Hey, what up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you tonight, and we're going to be talking a lot about tomorrow's TNA Impact Wrestling that's going to be on Wednesday night on Spike TV. I am one person who honestly has not gotten used to the change of Impact Wrestling moving from Thursday nights to Wednesday nights. I just think it was engraved in my head for so long. You know, Impact Wrestling Thursday. And, that's just how it's always been. Wednesday rolls along, and I have not yet, since the change, been able to remember when I get home, turn on Impact. It just hasn't been able to click in my head yet. I have no clue why. I see things on my Twitter less and less each week about people tweeting about TNA. I honestly think that this is one of the last big impacts for TNA. There was the rumor that was put out there that TNA had sort of said that they would announce a TNA TV deal within 10 days, and that was expired on Friday of last week, and here we are on Tuesday of this week, and there's still nothing out there. Spike TV hasn't gave in and sort of, extended the deal. There's the upcoming TNA tour where they're going to be touring the UK come January. They have nothing planned for TV tapings to finish out the year. I believe there's this week of Impact, and then 2 more following weeks where I don't know anything that slipped out on the spoilers yet, but I don't think anything really big happens on those last 2 shows. So I mean, this could really be one of the really last big ones that send us off down the road. I know that we're only coming off of Bound for Glory 2 weeks ago, but I don't know why they didn't give this match a bigger feel. I mean, it would have been easy to slap the name on there. TNA Turning Point made it seem like this was the show that Spike TV was buying the pay-per-view rights to and putting it out there. I don't know if you can say that the ratings have been huge when they've done these sort of pay-per-view nights on television, but honestly, I can see a lot more people talking about it because Turning Point isn't really a really big show with a whole bunch of, prestige to it, but it has the feel of a pay-per-view, which gets everybody talking. And you think about like Bound for Glory, people were going out, they weren't paying for the show. I don't really know anybody who really did, but I mean, people were going out and they were streaming this show just because it was wrestling that was on, and it was sort of like put in a big light because it was under the umbrella of Bound for Glory, which is sort of like TNA's WrestleMania. With Turning Points, you can go back to 2006, Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe, 2008 with Sting versus AJ Styles. Those are 2 of the biggest main events that have ever happened for them. And I don't know, I just think that it would get people tweeting it out. Maybe they can get the hashtag going, TNA Turning Point, and maybe it would get some people to turn in and get this last big rating for this company that seems to be going out on their way out. There's talk of a taping that's going to be held in New York. I don't know if it's New York State or New York City, but it seems like this is the 3rd time they've gone into New York on this well, and I don't know, when they went to the first tapings in New York City, they were big, the crowds were there, they were loud. They went back there and they tried to do a second set of tapings. The crowd, the crowd was there, but there was less of them, and the crowd was loud, but it wasn't as loud as the last time. And it seems like every time you keep hitting a market over and over and over again, there's going to be less and less people because there's less appeal of seeing this. Plus, there's not a lot of money to throw around if the show keeps coming to town every month. That's a lot of money to be throwing down. If you think about when WWE comes to town, most of the time it comes to your city twice a year. Some people, they live in smaller markets, so you're lucky if you get it once a year. But I know that, they sort of screwed the schedule up this year, but I know that WWE's going to come through my area normally at the beginning and normally during the summer, and sometimes they even come back for the holiday tour, but they might not hit my city. I might have to go to a different one. Like last year I had to drive out to Stockton, which was like an hour away or something like that. But I mean, it's not that bad. If you want to watch wrestling, you watch wrestling. And there's not a lot of people in Sacramento that'll drive to Stockton to see a show. It might be me, Victor, and Mario might be the only crazy peoples in the world out there. And I know, like, we had to drive out to Oakland to see another set of shows. That was, like, in January or February, Yeah, but it's like, if they just keep hitting the same town over and over again, the crowd's not going to show up. TNA is coming off of a big win for their champion, Bobby Lashley. He fought on Bellator 130. He fought against Carl Ellerington, a guy that honestly, in my opinion, I gave him no chance to win. The guy came in 9-0. He hadn't had a fight last longer than one round. And I thought that Bobby Lashley, at his age and what I thought was his MMA skill, I thought he had no shot in this match. And he knocked him out. He got the win. You got to give the props to him. The guy was able to pull it out. That was probably the biggest fight he's had to his date. I believe now in Bobby Lashley's career, he moves to 12-2. And you got to think, maybe this guy is better than I think a lot of people thought he was. I know that coming out of Strikeforce, he was trying to sign with UFC, and UFC gave him no attention. You got to wonder when Bobby Lashley is going to be popping up on UFC's radar to see if he's even worth the guy that's worth to come in maybe for one show somewhere along the way. Bellator's got to be paying him, and I don't know how long his contract lasts, but everybody wants to reach the big leagues, and Bellator seems to be a place that a lot of the fighters go to get noticed, or a lot of guys go to just make that easy money, knowing that their days in UFC are done. But the big match is going to be all set up around Bobby Lashley getting one more shot. Bobby Lashley giving one more shot to Bobby Roode. He gave this shot to Bobby Roode against the I guess you can say against the knowledge of his leader, or I don't know, his manager, or I don't know really what MVP is. If MVP is like his business manager, or if it's his wrestling manager, or if he's just like his friend. Basically, MVP was trying to make sure that Roode didn't get the shot, but Lashley wasn't going to turn down any sort of challenges against his championship. So he went against MVP and he gave Roode the shot, and they're going to get it on. I think a lot of people know what's going to happen in this match, and it sort of sets the tone of where TNA is thinking they're going. And it almost has a feel of like the last Nitro. There's a little part of me who knows this taped, but there's a little part of me that wants to watch this show with the expectation maybe maybe Vince would be on the show and maybe he takes it over, much like he did on the last Nitro. And a lot of the championships are put on the guys, so when these guys merge into WWE, I mean, when companies go down, you always think of when WCW did. It was something that I never thought was ever going to happen. When I was watching it, I still didn't believe it. And honestly, even though they told us that, TBS was canceling wrestling, I would be lying if I didn't tell you that on the next Monday, I went to my cable box and I turned on TNT because I wanted to make sure that Nitro wasn't coming on. I don't know what came on instead, but I don't know. This is going to be a match. This is me begging you guys. You guys know when the announcement went down for TNA, basically saying that they were getting canceled by Spike TV. I said that this isn't the best thing for wrestling. I know that there's smaller promotions out there in the world that are everybody knows. I don't even really know if everybody watches New Japan. I know everybody talks about New Japan. I have knowledge of what goes on from listening to a podcast about it. I'm not 100% sure I'm at the point where I would go out of my way. I think the biggest thing that is the barrier for me with New Japan Wrestling is that the language thing. I sort of need to be walked through a match sometimes. I need somebody to be telling me what is the story, especially with me being a new fan. I know that a lot of my friends watch this, and I think they're crazy because I know that if you watch over a period of time, even though you don't know what's going on with word of mouth, you can feel the emotion of what's going on. You know who's the babyface, you know who's the heel, and good wrestling is good wrestling. But I know that's the biggest talk. People are saying that maybe when New Japan gets picked up and it's getting moved on to United States pay-per-view, they would bring in Jim Ross, or they would bring in that one, I know there's been talk about CM Punk doing it with Jim Ross, and I don't think that's going to happen. But there's other rumors about other guys that would come in and do these sort of voiceovers for these New Japan pay-per-views for when they air, so that it's more friendly, I guess you can say, for the United States market. But there's PWG, there's Ring of Honor, there's this, that, or the other, but TNA was never the number one company. It wasn't like when WCW beat out WWE in the ratings thing, and they were like they were the stomping ground. They had all the bragging rights in wrestling, but it's gonna suck when this company goes down. I know that they got Lashley, they got Roode, they got Storm, Kurt Angle. Those are all the names that rattle off the top of my head. But I mean, for these guys to fall off the face of the earth, I would hope that James Storm gets signed. WWE is crazy if they don't sign Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. I guess it's just they just don't want Kurt Angle. I don't know what's going on with that, but there's gonna be a lot of guys that I like. Robbie E, Jesse Goddard, DJZ, that are gonna have nowhere to go. I mean, so like that. This is why you need to watch this show. Just check this out. I'm sure the match is going to be great. It seemed that in the last match that they did for, I believe it was the No Surrender pay-per-view on television, it was Roode. It was basically looking like he was going to beat Lashley. He kicked out of the spear from Lashley. He picked him up to give him the Roode bomb is when the knee gave out, and that's when basically he was left vulnerable for Lashley to hit his finish on him. And Lashley's beat everybody clean. For being a heel champion, I can't think of the last heel champion they got. I can't even think of the last heel champion that got wins heel. They got heel wins clean, without using the belt or a manager or some sort of a run-in or something like that. That just seems to be, that's all the way the guys get beat down now, especially in the main event. But for one guy to be champion and get all of his wins clean is a real big thing for wrestling these days. But we'll have to see. Watch this, see if we can save TNA wrestling together. Peace out, everybody. See you down the road.